Well, good morning. We're on our way over to join a group this morning, and it's for a ride from Harby back to Grantham, and we'll tell you a bit more about that ride later, but it's basically following the route of Queen Eleanor of Castile's funeral cortege, and this group are raising money for the homeless. They're based at St Martin's in the Fields in London, and they're riding all the way from Lincoln down to Charing Cross in London. Now, Wendy and I are just joining them for the first part of the ride back to Grantham. We'll have done 35 miles just to get here. They're kicking off at 12 o'clock. I think we're heading to Lincoln Cathedral, and there's something we're going to see there. And then it's the trek across to Grantham. We've made special arrangements for them to ride through Belton Park, which would be nice, and then we'll leave them there. But we're going to tell you lots more about this ride and some of the history and how long they've been doing it and so on. And we'll meet some of the characters. Well, we've arrived here at the village hall in Harby where everyone's meeting. I think we've got probably 25 riders coming today, and first of all, I'm joined here by Richard, and Richard lives in Harby.
Sure do, yeah.
So what's your role in this, Richard?
We've supported the Queen Eleanor cycle ride since its inception, 18 years ago.
Really?
So we host the support team the night before, and then I usually cycle into Lincoln and out to guide the riders in, but I've got an injury at the moment. And so it's basically hospitality at this end of the ride.
Right.
And, a little bit of history when we go to the church and the manor house site.
Right, which we're starting with, yeah.
We'll be going up there, shortly.
Oh, excellent. That's good. So, Queen Eleanor's quite important for Harby. You've even got the reference on the village sign. So you're quite proud of your connection, I guess.
I mean, the history of Harby is it goes back over 1,000 years. But there's only two exciting things that have ever happened in the village. One is the death of Queen Eleanor in 1290, and the other one was in 1957 when we had a plane crash on this very site, actually. So it demolished some houses that were along there. And of course, apart from the Queen Eleanor cycle ride, which is the third most famous thing that happened in Harby. That's really it. But we are very proud of our Queen Eleanor connection.
Yeah. There's nothing left of the chapel where Queen Eleanor died. No. Or is there?
Not extant remains above ground, but this was found nearby several years, about 10 or 15 years ago, and it's been definitively identified as a right-hand internal label stop, late 13th, early 14th century carving, very high quality of cathedral quality carving, internal because it's not weathered, and we would like to think that this is the only extant surviving bit of the medieval chantry chapel.
And you're ideally placed in Harby with Route 64 of the NCN.
Yes, so that comes in from Newark through Harby and ends up in Lincoln.
Yeah.
And then there's a spur goes the other way, 647, goes over the Trent on Fledborough Viaduct.
Yeah,
and,
which we use regularly.
Yeah.
And of course now, as you probably know, there's the Trent Vale Trail is open all the way to Newark.
Yeah.
So,
and that links up at Fledborough with Route 647. So you can pretty much go from Newark to Lincoln traffic free now. The TVT's up and running,
Yeah, good. So it's going to be quite an exciting ride today, hopefully interesting from a history point of view.
Yeah, you'll see here to the cathedral and then to the site of the cross in Lincoln, and then head out and you'll
to Grantham
and end up in Grantham this evening.
Yeah. It's a shame you can't join us though.
Well, I've done it a few times. So
right. I'm sure you have over the last 18 years.
So it's a shame I can't join you this year, but
well, thanks for organising.
That's all right. No.
Well, we've just had our briefing, and I have to say they are super organised here. They've thought of everything, but then again, if they've been doing it for 18 years, they should have done. Now, this is Sylvia, who was my first contact in this. Sylvia's leading our group, so today we're not leading anything. We're going to relax and follow Sylvia.
So this went in 2006. This is the Queen Eleanor Memorial window. It was originally intended to celebrate 2,000 years of Christianity, but obviously 6 years late. And you see Eleanor in the left-hand pane, the heraldry in the right, Leon and Castile, England, and Ponthieu.
This is what you're wearing on your T-shirt.
That's it. This is here.
It's no coincidence.
And then the crosses. There are 12 crosses to symbolise the 12 Eleanor crosses, and the swirl here represents the route the cortege took. This is essentially the manor house site. You can see the line of the moat across there, and it turns and comes back this way, and it went as far as roughly where that line of views is. So one of you could be stood on the exact spot where Queen Eleanor died. It's up to you whether you want to imagine that or not. It would have been the manor house of Richard de Weston, where she was when she died, would be a wooden structure, but it's got stone foundations. So we know that from the English Heritage Schedule. And this bit of stone here came out of Fred Medley's grave in what year was that? 1997. So, and that is inevitably going to be part of the foundations to the manor house. So, yeah, this is the very spot, if you like. And what we normally do is bits of that ash tree just conveniently fall off, and that's growing on the site of the site of the manor house. And we normally carve a cross from a piece of ash that fortuitously falls off at the right time of year. And but this year we've got a cross that Judith has got the cross. This is carved from the remains of one of the headstocks in the church. So we replaced the bells in 2005, I think it was, wasn't it, Paul? And so we salvaged a bit of the headstocks. 4 of us cycled the Western Front and left a piece of home with every man who's named on our war memorial, you'll see on the way out, and celebrated their glory with some Belgian beers and stuff like that. But that's a part of the headstocks, and you can carry that symbolically down to Westminster Abbey, place it on each of the crosses or cross sites on the way, and then it ends up on Eleanor's tomb. So that cross is symbolically making the same journey as Eleanor did from here, where she died, to where her body is in Westminster Abbey. So Judith, custodian.
Judith has kindly agreed to take it to Grantham.
Brilliant.
And we will pass it round. So if anybody would like to carry it for a leg of the journey, please tell me afterwards.
And it's like the ring in Lord of the Rings, it gets heavier the nearer you get to Westminster Abbey.
Because they didn't have modern day embalming techniques, the first thing they did with any body is to remove the entrails, because they were the first things that would sort of go off. So they disemboweled Queen Eleanor, and her entrails were buried in Lincoln Cathedral. And our first stop is to go and see that tomb. This is why Wendy and I don't cycle up to the cathedral, because it's all uphill.
It's a challenge.
Somebody told us that churches are always built on high ground, but this is taking it to the extreme.
I have a feeling it might be steampunk weekend, Roy.
Do you think?
I've just seen 2 steampunkers.
Right.
Is that
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another one.
Yeah.
Look like something from the Boer War.
Where's
Well,
our
there's the
leader?
cathedral up ahead. We normally see this from a distance.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
Magnificent.
I just love steampunk
I do.
weekend. It's my favourite.
We ask a blessing on all of you gathered here today as you're about to embark on your ride to London. We pray for safety, fellowship and witness as you travel. We also commend to God the work of the Connection at St Martin's in the Fields for the work of caring for the homeless and the vulnerable. And so may the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit be upon you and all whom you love this day and forever. Amen.
So this tomb contains Eleanor's viscera.
That's
I guess.
right, not
Yeah.
her heart. Her heart is in Blackfriars.
Blackfriars.
Alfonso, her eldest son,
Okay.
who died when he was 10. We could have had a King Alfonso had he survived.
Right.
So it was her wish that her heart be buried with her son in Blackfriars. And she was great friends of the Blackfriars. Had big connections with them. So sorry I've taken it.
No, sorry, no.
Sorry.
I did read about her. She was very influential in her
She's
time,
very
educated.
quite a feisty woman.
Yes.
I think which is why she got on well with Edward. I think she stood up to him.
Yes.
But she was not particularly popular queen, partly because she was so forthright and feisty, I
Of
think.
course, women in those days didn't.
But I think that Spanish blood in her gave her that little bit of.
Yeah.
So, yes. I'm
Excellent.
surprised she's not remembered as one of those she-wolves of.
It is, yeah. I mean,
Yes,
I think
but she's
what the
not, you know,
different
she's not.
She will be from henceforth.
how important she was.
I think she should
You
be.
read on
But she was a woman of great intellect.
And wealth.
Well,
But then you think, 1290, different times.
So here we are in Lincoln Cathedral, and this is Pam Orchard, who's the CEO of the Connection.
That's right.
So
I
what's
am.
the Connection all about?
The Connection is a charity that's right in the centre of London, in the epicentre of rough sleeping in the UK. And our role there is to try and get people off the streets and into sustainable long-term accommodation. And they come to us with often with really significant mental health problems, drug and alcohol problems, sometimes immigration status that's unclear. And many people have spent years on the streets and are in a really terrible state.
I think it's quite easy to overlook homeless people. You know, they're often just in the way.
Yeah.
But I always think we're only one bad decision away from homelessness sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess you hear all the stories.
We do hear all the stories, and I think when people are on the streets, it makes us feel uncomfortable, and so some people choose to just sort of walk away from it because it makes them feel a bit horrible. And other people do things like the Queen Eleanor cycle ride, where they say, "I want to do something about this."
Yeah.
And actually, only 0.05% of the population have slept rough. It's a tiny number of people in proportion to everybody in the UK, and we can do something about this.
Yeah, sure. So the Connection, what sort of services do you provide?
So the work of the Connection is all about building relationships with people, because if they don't trust you, you won't. Nothing good will happen. So we build up that trust by going and finding people on the streets, giving people water, giving people bananas or chocolate, asking them their name, cup of tea, going back to people over and over and again, and also opening our centre every day for people to come in and get food, get a shower, charge their mobile phone, that kind of thing. And then we build up relationships with people from there to try and deal with the underlying causes of their homelessness.
Yeah.
So we help people get housing or go into temporary accommodation. We help people get treatment. We help people to see doctors and nurses. We get people going into psychiatric wards when we can with a mental health assessment. We do lots of things like that to deal with the underlying issues that are causing their rough sleeping.
We just arrived in the village of Bruton, where the local Quakers treat these riders to refreshment in the Quaker meeting house. But I was immediately struck by this small cemetery. In the early days of Quakerism, members were not permitted to be buried in parish cemeteries, so meeting houses with land for burial were established, and this is one of them. What struck me most, though, is the simplicity of these gravestones. There's no ostentatious tombs that express wealth, but just a simple stone with an inscription, which seems to symbolise that we're all equal in death. So I'm joined by David Holton. And David, you're driving the broom wagon, or are we calling it the support vehicle?
I'm driving the support van this year. Well, yeah.
So have you ridden this before?
I have.
You have.
I've been in and out of the van and riding, and since we started it in, I think 2008 was the first group ride that we did. We did a dummy run in 2007, so
okay,
been going a little while.
Going a long while.
Yeah.
So tell us the route. So we're on our way to Grantham, where you're overnighting, and there was a cross at Grantham outside the Guildhall.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Geddington?
So we stop in Geddington tomorrow night, Dunstable, where there was another cross on Sunday evening, and then finish at Westminster Abbey on Monday.
So you're actually riding from Geddington?
Yeah.
And the next stop is Dunstable?
Yeah, Geddington to Dunstable on Sunday. So I think that's is that the longest day we do, I think? Yeah.
That's quite a long way.
Good distance, yeah.
Yeah. Surely there was one in between Geddington and Dunstable.
There were. So we go past the sites of all of the original crosses, and there were 12. So after Geddington, there was one at Hardingstone in Northampton. In fact, that one's still there. Right. Stony Stratford at the top end of Milton Keynes, and then Woburn, and then Dunstable. So yeah, quite a few to take in on Sunday.
Yeah. And the final cross was Charing Cross.
That's right.
Hence the name.
Hence the name Charing Cross. So Waltham Cross and Charing Cross, often people recognise the names and realise that they've heard of the Eleanor Cross.
Are you connected with this charity at all, other than the riding?
Not so much anymore. When we started it, my dad was the vicar at St Martin in the Field, so so I had a kind of connection through that. Kath and Roger Shalgene, who sort of conceived of this, they'd set up a pilgrimage from St Martin's to Canterbury, a walking pilgrimage every year, which had been happening since 1990. And Kath had the idea. She saw the Eleanor Crosses referenced on a tea towel about St Martin's and thought, oh, that would make a good cycle ride. So I bumped into them in the pub one day, and they said, oh, David, you're a cyclist, aren't you? You want to come help set this cycle ride up?
Everybody happy?
Yeah.
Could sound a bit more enthusiastic. How was that stretch for you?
That was great.
Yeah?
It's flat in Lincolnshire. This is really good news.
Yeah, but you
Really
see,
good
that's not really true. It's flat in this part of Lincolnshire.
Okay.
But you get up into the wolds, it surprises everybody.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there we
Really,
go.
seriously, it's
Yeah.
quite hilly.
Yeah, yeah.
And down Stamford way as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll be skirting the Vale of Belvoir as well.
Okay.
That's in Leicestershire, but that's also very,
Yeah.
well, quite hilly.
Yeah.
But it's all relative, you see.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like the Alps.
Well,
So-
I used to live in Scotland and cycle in Scotland a lot,
Oh,
so
well, there you go.
my whole interpretation of hills is
Yeah, it's
quite
isn't
different.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to your role. I mean,
Yeah.
your fundraising, obviously. How do you raise the funds for this? Today,
Yeah.
obviously, this week is about raising funds.
Yeah. So we spend about £6 million a year at the Connection on helping people out
Yeah.
of rough sleeping and homelessness, and we have about half of that we raise through fundraising from events like this and from people giving us donations and things like that. And it's amazing because every day we see people who are just having an awful life. And it can be really hard, and knowing that there are all these members of the public out there who care about the issues as much as we do is just amazing. You know, and you get people sort of writing to you with, like, you know, £10 saying, you know, well done for the work you do. And it does really matter to us. It feels like there's a critical mass of people all getting together doing something about the issue.
For some of those people, £10 is probably a lot to them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
trouble. Do you get any government funding?
Some, yeah, we
Good.
get some. So a bit for some things that we do. So we sometimes talk about severe weather emergency protocol, which is a local authority responsibility, a legal responsibility. So they hire us and our building to do that, and that basically means that when it's very hot or when it's very cold, there are extra things that we do in our centre. So when it's hot, we'll do like we were doing it last week. We will have water, sun cream, hats, a cool place that people can sit, have a shower, stuff like that, and then we'll be open at night for people. Although, to be honest, it's during the day when it's the biggest issue. Sure. And then in the winter, if it gets below a certain temperature, then we open the centre for overnight, and we have and we open for longer to get people out of the cold. And that kind of element of our work is all about. It's basically about keeping people alive when there's extreme weather conditions.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, it's valuable work. It's great that you do it,
thank
and
you.
It's great that you have this sort of event.
Yeah,
And
well,
hopefully-
it's fantastic. You know, it's really nice to be here.
And
so-
hopefully we can encourage more people to join you next year.
I'd love
and
that.
The year after.
I'd love that. It'll
So,
be amazing.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
Thanks,
it. Enjoy
Rob.
the rest of the ride.
I will. Thank you.
One person I haven't managed to catch up with, and maybe because he's in the fast group, is Charles Wood. Not only was Charles chair of the Friends of the Connection for 9 years, and the current chair of the committee that organises this ride, he's personally ridden the entire Queen Eleanor route 11 times. And since 2008, Queen Eleanor riders have raised a massive £275,000 to support the Connection in their work for rough sleepers in London. And it's something that Charles has played a huge part in. This year he's hoping to raise £25,000 from this ride to bring that total to a nice round £300,000. Well, we're now on the last leg of the ride. In fact, the very last part of the last leg. I'm just coming up to the church hall where they'll be staying the night. I'm not staying the night here, I'm going home, which is about another 3-4 miles. I think everyone's looking forward to getting some dinner and then having a good night's sleep before they get off tomorrow. So I'm joined by Sylvia now, and Sylvia was the one that contacted me in the first place about this ride and the route and so on. So what's your connection with this, Sylvia?
Yeah, I have got a couple of jobs on the Queen Eleanor cycle ride. I am the ride liaison, so I'm sort of the front end. All the new riders that sign up with the ride, I'm the person that responds to their emails and tells them all about it, answers all their questions. And I also help with the publicity, so I'm always trying to find new ways of publicising the ride and getting in touch with different organisations whose members I think would really enjoy it, and where there's a bit of an affinity between the Queen Eleanor cycle ride and that organisation. So, for example, I met you, Roy, through your role as a community ride leader with British Cycling. We also promote the ride through the British Pilgrimage Trust and through the Cathedral Cycle Relay. and also through Facebook groups.
Yeah, excellent. And how many years have you been doing this?
It's about 5 years now,
5
actually.
years.
Yeah.
And how many times have you ridden it?
This will be my 6th year.
Wow.
Yeah. So every year is different.
And you're leading as well.
Yeah, and I look after the middle group,
Yeah.
which means that we get to all our destinations while there's still cake left on the plate.
I can see that.
That's always a good thing to do. Be letting them down if we were too late and we missed it all.
Yelling at me, slow down, slow down.
Yeah.
So good.
That's it.
So, and your husband's involved as well.
He is, yeah. Paul did the ride with myself and our 2 kids. We did it as a family and we had a really great experience. I think it's a really good ride for groups where people cycle at different speeds. So my kids, even though they were 14 and 16 at the time, were off with the fast group and they were waiting for us and having hot chocolate while we pedalled in more slowly behind them.
And you have a family affinity with this ride.
We do. My daughter is called Eleanor, and so the same name, and so the ride just really appealed to us. That,
And she did it for her Duke of Edinburgh?
She did, yeah. Her silver Duke of Edinburgh, and it was I think a really memorable experience for her.
Yeah. And does she still cycle?
Sadly, no.
But she'll come back.
The bike's still there.
Yeah, it's
ready
there
and
for
waiting.
her. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, really wish you a great ride for the. When is it you finish?
We'll finish on Bank Holiday Monday.
Bank Holiday Monday.
Mid-afternoon at Westminster Abbey.
That's a lot of riding.
It is, yeah.
And is there some sort of reception at the Abbey?
Yeah, well, I love the end of the ride because we cycle through, traffic-free streets on bike lanes. You end up on the embankment, and it's just a really exhilarating feeling to feel like you're getting closer to the heart of London.
Yeah.
We finish at Westminster Abbey.
Yeah.
I like to think that they clear the Abbey for us, but I think they might just be doing that anyway. And we all go in and have a really quite poignant ceremony in the Shrine of Edward the Confessor, where Eleanor's tomb is, where King Edward's tomb is, and you can really feel the history and all the associations that come with the Abbey.
Yeah. As you know from talking to me before, the Queen Eleanor story fascinates me. Can people find out more about Queen Eleanor anywhere and the story?
Yeah, certainly. They can go to the Queen Eleanor Cycle Ride website, which is queeneleanorcycleride.org. We also have a Facebook page where the link is on there as well. But very excitingly, a really acclaimed young author called Alice Loxton, she is bringing out a book later on this year all about Queen Eleanor. And it's going to be a fascinating read and a very relevant one, because it's not just about the history of Queen Eleanor, it's about why she is still relevant to society today. Why do people still visit the crosses? Why are they still interested in her as a queen? The book is coming out in November this year, so great opportunity. You've got a Christmas present, and the Queen Eleanor Cycle Ride will be featured in the paperback edition of that book next year.
Good.
So we're really excited, because she is a brilliant historian. She's an amazing communicator, and you can find out more through her Instagram page and podcasts that she does.
Again, we'll put a link. Right, well, enjoy the rest of it. I hope it all goes well.
Will do, yes.
And hopefully see you next year.
I hope so, yes.
And hopefully many of our viewers will see you next year.
I really hope so. It'd be great to have more people join us.
And if people can't ride but want to help the connection, can they donate?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, we have a fundraising platform called Enthuse. Just look up Queen Eleanor Cycle Ride. Right. There's a team page, and we'll welcome all donations.
Well, I'll add a link to the video, so
fantastic.
Hopefully people will see that.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thanks,
Brilliant.
Sylvia.
Okay then.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Roy. Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. Yes. You're not riding with us?
No, just today, and I'm going home now to a nice, comfortable bed. There are quite a few of the people on that ride are sleeping on the floor of the church hall. So I did rub it in a bit that I was on my way home to a very comfortable bed. And I'm on just coming up to 80 miles for the day, so it's been a long day. pretty ready to get back. But I think you'll agree the folks on today's ride were extremely passionate about what they're doing, had a great belief in what they're doing, and happy to go through a bit of pain as well as pleasure to achieve it. So as I'm nearly back, I'll say goodbye to you now and look forward to you joining us next time. Bye for now.